Part 38. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 371. As the only female general in command of the Great Xia Empire, Zhang Ziyu is a difficult historical figure to play. In the past few days, I studied history books until late at night, and Sang Yanqing felt distressed when he saw it, and wanted to persuade her not to be so tired. How could she know how to act after only one day? It's not always a dream, is it? That would be God. I said I was going to audition now, I said while putting on his clothes. I know how to act, Sister Sang, trust me. I don't believe. Who else can you believe? Sang Yanqing smiled. Of course I believe you. If you say I will do it for you, I will contact Lu Dao and ask him to prepare. Si's ability to say this shows that she must have figured out the character of Zhang Ziyu. Sang Yanqing was very pleased. What is lacking now is these dedicated actors. Well, but I need someone to help me. Si washed his face. I'm looking for someone to play Mrs. Zhang. If I'm not the actress, I might not be able to catch my play. Sang Yanqing. Listen, is this human? Sang Yanqing was a little numb. Mrs. Zhang's role Lu Dao has a few people, but there is no actress you want. Actors who have a bit of a reputation in this show are afraid to take it. I see, but Madame Jiang's role is very important. Si thought thoughtfully. I'll ask Mother Tao. Because she and Tao Yunkai played the role of mother and daughter in Looking for the Orphan, the two had a good relationship, so she was called that. Mr. Tao, Sang Yanqing hesitated. She probably wouldn't agree, after all. Before the words were finished, Si's voice came from the microphone. Mother Tao agreed. I will invite her to the studio and then go to the audition together. Sang Yanqing. As expected of you. She was really worried. Si packed up his things and rushed out of the house. When she arrived at the studio, Tao Yunkai just arrived. Mother Tao Si stepped forward. It's the drama I told you about, the lady of the town. I want to invite you to play the role of Mrs. Zhang. Well, I know. Tao Yunzi nodded. That's why I came here. Mother Tao Si looked serious. This drama is desperate for actors, you must think about it carefully. Then take the risk. Tao Yunzi smiled lightly. I have also been seeking breakthroughs for many years. If you don't come to me, I will also play roles outside my comfort zone. In history, Mrs. Zhang did not even leave her full name. There is only Zhang Yu's name. But Mrs. Zhang had a profound influence on Zhang Haiping, Zhang Suanjin's 9 brothers and Zhang Ziyu. Although she did not go to the battlefield, she was a solid backing from the other Zhang family members. Okay, I'm relieved to have Mama Tao's words. Si raised his eyebrows. Mama Tao, don't worry, we will create a real historical drama. She took out a few documents from the bag, with a lot of plot and character analysis written on them, and handed them to Tao Yunzi. Tao Yunkai took it over and took a look, and the more he looked, the more surprised he became. You wrote this yourself? It's amazing. Yes, I nodded. If the characters want to stand up, they must know all their information. Mama Tao can trust me. You will never be wrong in playing Mrs. Zhang like this. Tao Yunkai looked at it carefully, and after reading it, he let out a slow sigh of relief. She held Si's hand with a solemn expression. Ching ching, I now believe that the drama girls of the town can become a milestone in the Daxia film and television industry. You are a real actor. She is honored to play the role of Mrs. Zhang. Mother Tao, don't praise me, I'm going to float. Si blinked. It's getting late, let's go. The crew of girls of the town is here. Knowing that Si had already figured out how to audition, Director Lu and the screenwriter were also very nervous, and their palms were sweating. The script of Girls of the Town has been on the record for many years, and the director and screenwriter also want to give up, but they are really reluctant. We'll find Si the crew is also helpless. At first, director Liu was also afraid of Sci-Fi's rejection. After all, this is a script that has been pushed by many filmmakers. But Sci-Fi actually took it? This made Liu Dao overjoyed. But what followed was worry and fear. After all, the role of Zhang Ziyu was really too difficult to play. The words "women don't let men be put on Zhang Ziyu's body" is not enough to describe her achievements. Many boys are not as good as her. It was when director Liu saw Sui Yan played by Sci-Fi that he thought she could try the role of a national heroine. If Sci-Fi was implicated because of this, then he would be a sinner. How long does it take teacher Si to come? Director Liu glanced at the time. Did something happen? Ah, no. Sang Yanqing returned to his senses. She wants to bring teacher Tao Yunkai here. Director Liu. The screenwriter was also stunned. Just dragged an actress. Sang Yanqing thought for a while, maybe more than that. As far as she knew, Mo Yishan was also cheated by her artist. Perhaps Yuan Heping will not be spared either. Road Guide. Screenwriter. Sang Yanqing sighed. It seems that another crew is about to join the team with the blown heart. 10 minutes later, Sci-Fi finally came with Tao Yungzi. Director Liu hurriedly stood up to greet him. Mr. Si, Teacher Tao, it's a pleasure to meet. Which role is Teacher Tao going to play? Tao Yungzi smiled. This child calls me mother, and I still play her mother. Liu Dao was enlightened. It was Mrs. Zhang. Since Tao Yunkai came to play Mrs. Zhang, then it is necessary to increase Mrs. Zhang's role. Director Liu, I'm ready. Sci-Fi said, let's start. Liu Dao sat back again and shouted action. It was also at this time that he noticed that Sci-Fi's eyes had changed. Not an ambitious and popular celebrity, but an 18-year-old girl general. At this moment, what makes people notice is not her face called Xinyan, but her temperament. The Zhang family is a family of military commanders. Zhang Ziyu grew up in this environment since she was a child. At the age of 18, she had already acquired a good martial arts skill, which no man could compare to. At this moment, Director Liu suddenly felt that he seemed to have seen Zhang Ziyu, who was loyal and patriotic, courageous and resourceful in history. His expression became serious, his throat rolled, and he concentrated on watching Sci-Fi's performance. Today's episode of Sci-Fi's audition was the third year after Emperor Yin's death. The border was in a hurry again. Zhang Ziyu invited her to fight, and Mrs. Zhang, who had only one daughter, knelt down to stop her. After all, in Zhang Haiping's vein, Zhang Ziyu is the only one left. The prophecy that Ji Chunyuan left back then still made Mrs. Zhang terrified. The prophecy said that the Zhang family would all die on the battlefield. This is life, there is no escape. Mrs. Zhang didn't believe it at first, but since Zhang Haiping passed away, 7 years later Zhang Suanjin's 9 brothers died in battle, and Mrs. Zhang was unprecedentedly frightened. It's a very simple plot, but it's too difficult to perform. Because it was written like this in the history books, and it did not describe in detail how Zhang Ziyu persuaded Mrs. Zhang. There are many history book reviews compiled by later generations, saying that the dialogue between Mrs. Zhang and Zhang Ziyu was fabricated, but they were not convincing and were criticized by many historical fans. Tao Yunkai is worthy of being a movie queen, and quickly entered the state. She hugged Zhang Ziyu, played by Sci-Fi, tightly and did not let her leave. Her eyes were red, but her tears never fell. Ziyu, you are the only mother left. Behind the two is the ancestral hall of the Zhang family. The tablets of Zhang Haiping and Zhang Suanjin were among them impressively. Let's learn from my father, I will be more graceful. The girl turned around, knelt down, and bowed slowly to Madame Zhang, saying each word. Now that both father and brother are gone, His Majesty is also sleeping here, I won't go, and there is another who will guard the border town's national gate. If I don't go, the people of Yanmen will suffer from displacement again. If I don't go, how can I stand up to the Zhang family's army who died in battle? She bowed again, and her words were powerful, I must go, I dare not defeat my father and brother. Madame Zhang was stunned. The 18-year-old girl knelt on the ground, her back straight. This kneeling is not heaven and earth, not ghosts and gods. What she knelt was the loyal bones of the Zhang family, the unyielding soul of Daxia. The Zhang family guards the country, she is the Zhang family. Madame Zhang covered her mouth and finally burst into tears, her shoulders kept shaking, unable to utter a word. But she smiled and clasped her fists, please, Anyang. When Zhang Ziyu went, she didn't actually want to come back. She knew that destiny was hard to break, but she still had no turning back. This is Zhang Ziyu, who is light-hearted. Lu Dao's hand trembled violently, his hand slammed down on the table, staring at Tao Yongzi, who was hard to play, and Sci-fi, who was helping her stand up. His brain cracked and he almost felt burned up. He couldn't wait to tell everyone that Zhang Ziyu, the female general of the town, was alive. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 372. Whoever told him that Sci-fi was unworthy to play Zhang Ziyu, he would pick up a copy of Zhang Ziyu biography and photograph this person to death. This is Zhang Ziyu, the female general of the town. Sci-fi showed her courage and her innocence. Who dares to say no? The screenwriter is even crazier than the road director. She couldn't help hugging Sang Yanking next to her, Sister Sang, your teacher SI teacher. Sang Yanking didn't get much better either, and was stunned. It is true that Sui Yan and Zhang Ziyu are both absolute heroine lines, but they are completely different. It was the hatred of the immortal venerable that supported Sui Yan's revenge, rushing out of the devil's cave, setting foot in the Asgard, and beheading the immortal realm with his sword. But Zhang Ziyu is an ordinary person. She chose to take command of the expedition without hesitation because of her loyalty and belief. The Zhang family has strong bones from generation to generation, and so is Zhang Ziyu. If there is anything similar between these two characters, it is unyielding. Ching Ching is so good, I can't control it anymore. Tao Yongzi wiped away tears. This was not acting, she was really brought into the scene of parting by life and death by Zhang Ziyu, played by Sci-fi Middle. As if she was going to lose her daughter in the next second. Director Lu looked at Sci-fi, who was completely out of the play, and only felt horrified. You don't need time to play. Even a veteran actress like Tao Yunkai couldn't calm down for a long time. How could Sci-fi come out? What kind of terrifying acting talent is this? Sci-Fu tilted his eyelashes slightly and smiled lightly, probably because I can't show the tragic wars in history no matter how well I act. The main melody of the TV series Girls of the Town is more abusive than the devil is that this is what really happened in history. It's already very good. Director Lu almost danced. In this drama, all the funds will be invested in the scenes of war, and special effects will never be used. Don't worry, Teacher SI, it's all big scenes. The screenwriter said subconsciously, with Teacher SI here, we also saved money for a martial arts instructor. Sang Yanking. I just met her artist, why did she suddenly become so arrogant? I recognize Director Lu's production team, which is one of the reasons why I choose to take over this drama. Sci-fi nodded and smiled, but I hope Director Lu will give me a privilege to play the roles of Zhang Haiping and Zhang Suanjin. Pick. No problem. Lu Dao was very happy. You are the heroine, you can choose whatever you want. This drama mainly tells about Zhang Ziyu, but the story of the whole Zhang family will be interspersed with montage at the beginning. The characters Zhang Haiping and Zhang Suanjin appeared in the first episode, but they died soon after. In order to prevent the historical fans from rebounding even more, Lu Dao did not plan to shoot the faces of these characters. But Sci-fi spoke, and he believed her too. Then let's start filming in June. Director Lu pushed his glasses and couldn't restrain his excitement. I will try my best to let this drama be released as soon as it is finished, and I will give you this year's Yunding Award. The Golden Flower Awards and the Nianhua Awards are both held in the middle of the year, and Du Mo has already been reported. After Sci-Fi won these two awards, there would be almost no surprises. Daolu believed that with The Lady of the Town, the Yunding Award was also awarded by Sci-Fi. He is about to witness the birth of a less than 20-year-old Sanjinshi. Then use the road to guide Jian. Sci-Fi smiled, I'll go back to the studio first, we'll contact you online if we have anything. Okay, Lu Dao got up and sent Sci-Fi and Tao Yunkai out. After returning, he couldn't help but dance with the screenwriter. Choosing Sci-Fi is the most correct actor in his directing career. Ji Kinjao stayed in Angkan for a few days. In the past few days, after she mastered all the tricks that Sci-Fi taught her, she was able to draw a tie with Shang Lu. Because Qin Junmen had something to do, she left in advance and returned to Sijukan. After dealing with his own affairs, Ji Kinjao finally decided to go back to Ji's house. The housekeeper was very happy to see her back. Miss Eldest is back, Miss Er has been clamoring to see you. After accumulating a large amount of medicinal materials, Ji Qinggui's body is still normal these days. Ji Longta and MRSG are not here, they are going to get the medicine. Ji Kinjao's expression was light, just right, I also have something to tell her. Ji Qinggui turned 18 in December last year. According to the order of Master Ming Deng, the two sisters can meet. Miss, come here. The housekeeper took Ji Kinjao in and shouted, second miss, the eldest is here to see you. Ji Kinjao lifted the curtain and walked in. The last time she saw Ji Qinggui, she was only 2 years old and didn't remember anything, so she naturally forgot what Ji Qinggui looked like when she was born. But now Ji Qinggui does have an indescribable resemblance to Sci-Fi. Sister, Ji Qinggui's face was pale, but there was a smile in his eyes. Sister, you are finally willing to see me, why did I make you angry? Don't hate me, okay? Ji Kinjao just looked at her, his eyes were calm, without a trace of emotion. Sister, Ji Qing bit his lower lip slightly, I really envy you for having a healthy body. If my sister can give me half of it, I can go out with my sister. Do you actually feel it? Ji Kinjao finally said, when you are doing questions, sometimes things that don't belong to you will appear in your mind. Sister, what are you talking about? Ji Qinggui was confused, how can there be something in my mind that doesn't belong to me? Ji Kinjao did not mention Sci-Fi's name, but relayed the words of the monk of Guanghua Temple. The new host of Guanghua Temple is far inferior to Grandpa Ming Deng. Do you believe in this kind of illusory words, sister? Ji Qing pursed his lips slightly, and his voice was a little lighter, and what is mine, how can it be that I rob someone else? What? Can something that can be taken away be unique? Ji Kinjao laughed angrily, do you know what you're talking about? I'm tired, sister, we can't communicate any more today. Ji Qinggui's eyelashes drooped, looking very tired. Sister, I have admired you since I was a child. I heard from my mother that you don't need those boys in Qinjun League. I just want to see how good my sister is. But after you see me, say something strange. You don't like me, so you don't need to say such things to hurt my heart. Ji Kinjao stood up and said coldly, it's not me that you want to see, you just want to show off in front of me how good your parents are to you, but what you care about is actually worthless to me. At first, she was very happy to have a sister, and she was willing to leave all good things to her, even if they couldn't meet. But later she found out that only children who can cry can eat candy. She was thrown into the Qinjun League since she was a child, and she didn't have much relationship with the Ji family. Especially the few times she met Ji Longta and his wife, she was already chilled. Ji Qinggui's reaction even made her know that they were not the same people. Ji Qinggui suddenly opened his eyes. Ji Kinjao didn't look at Ji Qinggui's expression again, and went straight out of the bedroom. Seeing that her face was cold, the housekeeper did not dare to ask any more questions, and could only watch her leave. After Ji Kinjao left, the housekeeper knocked on the door. "Second miss, have you quarreled with eldest miss?" "Why would I quarrel with my sister?" Ji Qing shook his head slightly. "My sister just doesn't like me. I won't be willful in the future." Hearing this, the butler breathed a sigh of relief. In comparison, the second miss is more sensible, the eldest miss's heart is too cold. He shook his head and reported the meeting between Ji Qinggui and Ji Kinjao today to Ji Longta and his wife. On the other side, the headquarters of the Li Group. Li Yinshan put down the document. "Have you found it?" "Yes, Mr. Li, I found out something about Miss Bai abroad." The newly appointed secretary handed over a document. "Miss Bai lied to you. It wasn't her brother who helped her go to middle school abroad, it was her. The childhood sweetheart in the orphanage is also her boyfriend." Hearing this sentence, Li Yan's expression suddenly sank. "Boyfriend? Are you asleep?" The secretary was stunned for a moment, and quickly replied, "That's not true." Li Yan sneered. "Name?" The secretary hesitated. "It's Su Yang." Li Yinshan's expression finally fluctuated. He really doesn't care about the entertainment industry. Don't talk about him. The heirs of the listed big group have no time to pay attention, unless the reputation is very loud. Su Yang is one of them. The secretary saw that Li Yinshan's complexion had become extremely terrifying, and his heart skipped a beat. "Mr. Li, he is a top-notch, capable top-notch. Celebrities with strength and fans are too few in the entertainment industry, and they are very cherished existences." Li Yan's dark eyes showed a bit of gloom. "Top stream? Top stream is useless. The person who dares to covet him, even if he doesn't like it, that's not enough. He wants to kill Su Yang. If he can't die, Su Yang will not be able to get along in the entire Great Xia Empire." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 373. Go, you know what to do. Li Yan lit his cigarette lightly, with coldness and cruelty in his eyes. "All the black stuff in the entertainment industry, give this Su Yang a whole set, and the fake ones will also be changed for me. Come true. It doesn't matter if other people believe it or not, as long as those netizens believe it. The internet is the best place to take rhythm. In fact, it is not the media entertainment reporters or the hard-working star team that controls the public opinion. It is capital like Li Yinshan. Several leading economic companies in the entertainment industry can't help Su Yang, but the Li family can." The secretary didn't dare to say anything to refute. He swallowed and said, "Where's Miss Bai? Bring it to me now." Li Yan frowned coldly. "How dare you lie to me? I really don't know how high the sky is." The secretary went out almost on his knees. Not long after, Bai Jingxi was carried in by 2 bodyguards. Li Yan raised his hand. "You go out." The 2 bodyguards threw Bai Jingxi on the ground and backed out after salute. Bai Jingxi didn't know what happened. She forced a smile. "Yan Shen, what do you mean, I dash?" Before she could finish her words, Li Yinshan pinched her throat. "Su Yang is your little boyfriend, not your brother." His voice was gloomy. "You participated in the show The Birth of a Staff because Sci-fi and Su Yang have a good relationship, can't you bear it?" This sentence exploded in Bai Jingxi's ear like a thunder, and her mind went blank for a moment. How did Li Yinshan know? Seeing her expression, Li Yinshan already understood. He exerted force on his hand, with a bloodthirsty smile on his lips. "Don't you think you can lie to me all the time? If I didn't pay attention to it, carefully check you, I didn't know you wanted to cuckold me." He suddenly threw Bai Jingxi to the ground and looked at her condescendingly. Bai Jingxi was so panicked. "Yan Shen, I really didn't, I broke up with him before returning to China. I'm not sincere to him, but it's just too messy in a foreign country. I want to find someone to protect me. Yan Shen, you believe me, I am sincere to you. She only has Li Yinshan to rely on, and she absolutely cannot give up. It doesn't matter. Li Yan clasped his hands together, his eyes cold. You will see how your little boyfriend died right away. Bai Jingxi's heart jumped. Yan Shen. Su Yang is the top class, so many people are watching. Can Li Yinshan let him die silently? Bai Jingxi started to be afraid. Take it out. Li Yinshan didn't bother to talk to him anymore. Lock her up, no one can let her out without my permission. The two bodyguards came in again and forcibly took Bai Jingxi down. Li Yinshan threw the cigarette into the ashtray, his eyes still gloomy. The fact that Su Yang was Bai Jin's ex-boyfriend was just one of the reasons why he wanted to kill Su Yang. More importantly, Su Yang and Si fucking have a good relationship. But he sent someone to invite Si fucking, but he didn't get it 3 times. One of them accidentally ran into Duke Miston and gave him a great dismount. Li Yan was naturally arrogant, which he could not tolerate. He doesn't have the strength to compete with Duke Miston, and he can't make a star in the entertainment industry. However, it is indeed possible to leave Su Yang alive for a while, in order to invite Si fucking to come. In this way, Su Yang still has some uses. Thinking of this, Li Yinshan sent another instruction to the secretary. When Su Yang was completely ruined in the entertainment industry and became a rat crossing the street and everyone yelled at him, he would be caught and locked up. After the instructions, he reviewed the document again. Bizhu, Anken. Early the next morning, Si fucking came out of the game cabin. Ye Zhenmian had prepared breakfast before he left. An hour ago, Nian Yian had taken his and Lin Jiwan's rice balls to school. Nian Ting also went out to work at the beginning of the year, and Si fucking was the only one left at home. She took a bite of the hot bun and drank the hot milk, and finally felt that her exhaustion had been washed away a little. Halfway through the meal, the doorbell rang. Xiaobai ran over first, jumped up and pressed the door handle. Si fucking. This dog, Pixiu, definitely smells gold. The door opened and Yu Zian walked in. He was also wearing a meticulous gray suit, and the sun fell on his face that turned all beings upside down, dyeing his eyebrows and eyes gold, revealing an innate dignity. Si fucking moved out and said, "Boss, sit down, the buns are still hot, let's eat together." Yu Zian sat down opposite her, looked her up and down, and frowned. "Your eyes are so tired? You went to war last night." Si fucking. In a sense, her boss was right. She slept in the game cabin last night, set the sleep mode for 7 hours, and spent 70 hours in the Great Xia dynasty. She followed Zhang Suanjin back to Yanmen, and happened to encounter a barbarian team preparing to raid, so she joined the battlefield. Because she was an ordinary military division in the Great Xia dynasty, her physical strength could not be compared with that of the soldiers. In the end, when he was exhausted, he was still mentioned by Emperor Yin to go back immediately. It's quite embarrassing. Dream of fighting. Si fucking rested his chin in one hand, probably dreaming every day and night. Well, the female general of the town Yu Zian's pupils were deep. You want to play Zhang Zheyu? Actually, I don't want to play Zhang Zheyu either. Si fucking finished eating the last hot bun, wiped his hands, and smiled. I play the role of thousands of children of my big summer, with a loyal soul and blood. Have a loyal soul in your heart, and your blood will never die, Yu Zian said lightly. Good spirit. These 3 words made Si fucking startled. She looked straight at him. This look is too direct and warm, even Yu Zian is slightly wrong. What? Si fucking closed his eyes, and the fox eyes rolled up. Look at the boss, you are good looking and have the air of an emperor. If she can be reborn, then maybe someone else will be reborn. But Emperor Yin was from 1500 years ago. It was impossible. You can use a few words to praise you. Zion stood up, you are too tired these days, go out and relax. Si fucking didn't say anything yet, the man clasped her waist with one hand and hugged her. Si fucking slowly lowered his head. After a few seconds, she sincerely praised, "Boss, you are so strong." "Well, you," Zion said lightly, "want to try more?" "No, no." Si fucking looked serious, "I want to take care of the boss's body, I'll go by myself." "What kind of evil did she do?" "She was mentioned by Emperor Yin at night and by the boss during the day." "Is she so weak?" "Didn't you mean to find me as a walking tool?" Zion didn't let go of her, but put it on his back. "Why do you only dare to be arrogant when you're drunk? You're timid when you're sober." Si fucking. "Can you not mention what she did when she was drunk?" Her fists hardened. But it was indeed her fault for this matter, so she obediently asked Zion to carry her on her back, and by the way secretly decided that if it wasn't a last resort, she would never drink again. The news about Si fucking has continued on the internet these days. Some historical fans and black fans are chasing after Si fu, but there are also many netizens who praise her for pulling out Huang Ningui, the internet celebrity tumor, by herself. It is precisely because Si fucking directly exposed this method of shop exploring bloggers that the entire network began to crack down on this shop exploring model, and many shop exploring bloggers like Huang Ningui were identified. The entry #rectification_net_red exploring shop mode hashtag was pushed to the hot search, and relevant departments also began to take action. Many restaurants quickly responded, banning live broadcasts in restaurants, affecting other people's meals. After all, they are victims too. Netizens are very excited. "I knew that if Si fucking was in the entertainment industry for a day, the cancer could be removed for her. I don't like her, but I am happy to eat melons and have a good impression of her. There are no big melons this year, just wait for the big melons to knock me out, just don't burst out before I take the postgraduate entrance examination. I don't want to be a jerk in the melon field at that time. Then I'll just bet on a top-notch collapsed house this year. I don't know which one it will be, to be honest. As long as these stars abide by the law and don't do wicked things, they are not afraid of Si fucking sweeping away from evil, right?" The title of Si fucking's disciplinary committee member in the entertainment circle is getting louder and louder. Although many star teams don't believe it, they are indeed very cautious, for fear of hitting the boss, fucking, and being dug out. The house will collapse. And that is, in the middle of the night when eating melon netizens were active, many entries were aired on the hot search list. #Suyang sleeping powder #Suyang plagiarism #Suyang third party #Suyang lip syncing This is the first time that the hot search list is full of Suyang's black hot searches. Even at 1 o'clock in the morning, Weibo directly exploded. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 374. Suyang also stayed in the top position for more than 3 years. He is a rare singer with good looks and strength. His fans are all over the 5 states of Daxia, both men and women, young and old. The entertainment industry is a very complicated place, intriguing every day. But it is also a very simple circle, so simple that only interests remain. Suyang has become a clear stream in the circle. He does not sign with a brokerage company, nor does he do dramas or variety shows. He only records songs and dances with peace of mind. No one thought that one day he would put these words together. I read that right. Suyang, is that the Suyang I know? New Year's melon? These entries are too scary, one by one, don't scare me. Suddenly burst out in the middle of the night, why does it seem to be premeditated? Sushen will sleep powder, what a joke. But netizens clicked in, but found that there were strict text, pictures, and even videos under each entry. Especially the Suyang sleeping powder. The video shows that he went to a bar to sing regularly, but he did not leave after singing, but handed a glass of wine to a female fan who came to watch his performance. The female fan was very happy, and without any precautions, she quickly drank the glass of wine, but her consciousness began to blur randomly and was taken away by Su Yang. The screen after that is coded. And Su Yang plagiarized. In contrast to reality, he had a chorus of a tune from an album the year before, plagiarizing a song by international diva Agatha Field. The main melody of the two songs is very similar. Singers are creators, and the most taboo is plagiarism. One after another, all netizens who eat melons are blinded. They were like a goose hopping up and down in the melon field. Su Yang's fan base is huge, and his popularity is also very good. When these things broke out, many people first expressed their disbelief. "I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Su Shen could not be such a person. I said earlier that there is no one clean in the entertainment industry, there are black materials, and there is nothing to believe." Su Jianian also used his girlfriend's money to raise a little girlfriend at most. Sci-fucking is a bit of a scumbag. Su Yang is no longer scumbag, it's a violation of the law. If there is no evidence, netizens will look at it and pass. But the problem is that the evidence is all laid out, and it is very real. Many people have already begun to waver. In Su Yang's super words, fans who had not slept were also awakened. If one of the crimes in these black hot searches is picked out, everyone will yell at them, not to mention 5 or 6 together. Suddenly there was a mess in the super chat. Soon there will be a super talker who will host it. Every soda water, please calm down. We have been following him for 3 years. Even if it is difficult to fully understand a person through the screen, we must have our own opinions and cannot be led away by these black materials. He's been through so many bad things before and still survived. I don't believe he's that kind of person. But if he is, we definitely don't protect him. If he is not, we will work together to find out who dares to black him. This thing will never go away. These charges were clearly intended to send Su Yang to prison. If someone did it deliberately, it would be punishable. Su Yang's fans calmed down and just waited for Su Yang's response. But Su Yang's super talk has been broken by black fans and keyboard warriors. Even if his fans said very rational things, they were still chased and scolded in private messages. This night was destined to be a sleepless night. The entertainment industry is even more turbulent than ever. After Su Ziun followed Su Yang, he lived in his studio. He got up at 6:30 in the morning, took out his mobile phone habitually, but was shocked by the push message. Just as there was a knock on the door, it was Su Yang. "Have you not woken up yet?" Su Ziun was stunned for a second, and immediately grabbed the phone and got out of bed. "Something happened, brother Su, someone is trying to harm you." He knew that Su Yang never read Weibo, nor did he install it on his phone. Unless Sci-fucking has something to promote, Su Yang will download it and log in to Weibo. Su Yang obviously didn't know about this. He paused. "Huh? Su, brother Su," Su Ziun stammered. They said you were a sleeping fan, and they said you were plagiarizing." Su Yang's expression changed, and he took a look. Weibo is now unavailable. And the latest Weibo on his homepage has soared to 5 million comments. There was no such grand scene when Su Jianian collapsed. This is impossible," Su Ziun panicked. "Brother Su, someone must have done something." Su Yang frowned. "Well, I know. And he can already guess someone." Su Ziun was panicking when Su Yang's ringtone broke the silence. Su Yang returned to his senses and picked it up. "Mr. Sujong," Changning said in a rare eagerness, "don't come out. I have already told SISI, we will rush to your side immediately. You should be careful in everything." Su Yang was stunned for a while, but smiled instead. "Thank you." When the call ended, he slowly exhaled. It was indeed unexpected for him to suddenly be exposed to so many unreal black materials. Obviously, The other party also caught the fact that he did not have a studio and could not respond to the rumor in time. Su Yang calmly read the so-called evidence. The video is 70% true and 30% false. He did sing at that bar and had a chat with a fan, but everything else was fictional. Some computer experts have faked the following video. But the last 3-point leave made netizens think that he was really a sleeping fan. As for the so-called plagiarism, the two songs do have similarities, but they are both composed by Sci-fi. Didn't expect even this to be picked up. Su Yang pressed his eyebrows and felt troubled. Su, we are surrounded by a lot of people downstairs. Su Ziun looked from the window, and immediately closed the curtains. No wonder Miss Zhang won't let you out. Su Yang pursed his lips. I can't just sit still. Can't think of a good clarification solution yet. The studio door was banged. Su Ziun jumped up abruptly. Brother Su, are they going to kill you at your house? There are security guards below, they can't get in. Su Yang shook his head. Go and see who it is. Su Ziun glanced through the cat's eyes, but before he said anything, the first voice sounded outside the door. Mr. Su, Mr. Li wants me to tell you, don't think about people you shouldn't think about. This time it's just a warning. The person who came is Li Yinshan's new secretary, but as long as you obey, please beg Mr. Li, maybe you can become a singer again. It all depends on Mr. Su's knowledge. Su Yang's expression turned cold. It really is you. It seems that Mr. Su has already anticipated it. The secretary smiled. Mr. Li is busy and has no time to wait for Mr. Su. Please make a decision as soon as possible, otherwise you will be admitted on your charges. Su Ziun was furious. You are malicious slander. The secretary snorted softly. What happened to slander? The ability and power are higher than Li Yinshan. But no matter how many fans Su Yang has, he is still a star, and a star can't compete in front of capital. The secretary smiled again, and when he was about to say something, the collar of his clothes suddenly tightened. Pei Papa Sci clapped his hands. What a big tone. Why, he has already covered the sky with his hands and is the emperor of the Daxia Empire. Su Ziun heard a familiar voice and opened the door. Teacher Si. Su Yang was startled. He clearly saw that Si was still sweating on his forehead. The secretary's expression changed and he recognized Si. It's no wonder you're a newcomer, Si said indifferently. You're bold enough to even dare to come here to act wildly. The secretary frowned. Miss Si, this matter has nothing to do with you. Mr. Li treats you. He couldn't finish his words and was interrupted directly. Si said lightly, Shanglu. Shanglu immediately stepped forward. Yes. Maliciously spread rumors, destroy people's reputations, arrest them. Si rolled up his sleeves. How long can the sentence be sentenced? Yes, Shanglu directly twisted the secretary's hands behind his back. Be honest. The secretary's expression changed wildly, but he was stern. A rumor? You have no evidence. Shut up, Si said coldly. You don't have the right to interrupt. Shanglu directly stuffed a ball of smelly socks into the secretary's mouth. Did you hear me? Miss Si told you to shut up. Zhang Changning, who came with him, said. She mused. Is this the stinky socks magic trick of Kinjunmen? Su Ziun also calmed down. Mr. Si, online. Su Yang's fans are still supporting. But a lot of abuse has almost overwhelmed them. They had to have a clarification plan that would perfectly counterattack. What are you panicking about? Si frowned, but with a convincing calmness. I'm here, don't be afraid. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 375. Su Yang pursed her lips. Sister. For him, Si is not only a family member, but also faith and salvation. More than once someone was willing to give him a hand in the quagmire. I saw your so-called evidence on the way here. Si wiped his sweat, sat down, and opened the laptop he carried with him. The video synthesis is good. He is a computer expert, but it's a pity. This computer technology can't even reach the T18 entry test, so it can only deceive netizens. But Lee Yinchen's purpose is exactly this. After all, few netizens will specifically study how the video is synthesized, they only believe what their eyes see. I'll contact Agatha directly about the song and ask her to clarify Sci-fi side. It seems that I can't be lazy in the future. I have to write a song for you. She and Agatha also met because of The Oracle, and later made several songs for the international diva. Sometimes there are so many inspirations, resulting in partial resemblance, but plagiarism is not counted at all. It's just that Agatha is an international queen, and her status is even higher than Su Yang, so she was held on by netizens. The remaining few things became easier. I tapped the keyboard a few times and called up more favorable information. It's done, I'll have someone send it out later. Her expression is calm, her eyebrows are calm, and it is hard not to let people believe that no matter what it is, she can turn the tide. Su Ziun shivered as he watched, especially when he accidentally caught a glimpse of a program frame that he couldn't understand at all. His throat rolled, and his voice was very difficult. Mr. S.I., you won't be a secret agent, will you? Oh, I'm not only a secret agent, I'm also an armorer. I sent the clarification information to the professionals. I will also make Xiaoao pills, let you eat a Xiaoao all day long. You want to try? She raised her head and looked at Su Ziun with a smile. Su Ziun, no, no. Su Yang stood up and bowed to sister, thank you, this is your second time. You don't need to thank each other for helping each other. I patted him on the shoulder. Besides, you are also my brother. I don't cover you. Who is it? Okay, don't thank him anymore, you are making too much trouble, just clarifying is not enough. Wait for me, Ning Ning, you are here to help me watch him. If the Li family comes again, don't be rude to Poison directly. Zhang Changning nodded, I know, don't worry. I then left. The crowd crowded downstairs in Su Yang's studio was also evacuated. Su Ziun went to the dance studio with a few others to practice dancing. Eating sweets will make you feel better. Zhang Changning opened the lunch box, eat some, you will have the strength to fight when you are full. Su Yang couldn't help but smile, this statement is quite interesting. He didn't refuse and picked up a piece of sweet-scented Osmanthus cake. Zhang Changning brought an insulated lunch box, and the sweet-scented Osmanthus cake was still hot. He took a bite, it was sweet. Su Yang's heart moved slightly and whispered, thank you. But he had to admit that his stomach had been taken care of by Zhang Changning. Su Yang sighed. This is not a good sign. The Su Yang incident is indeed the most sensational incident in the entertainment industry in the past 10 years. Many netizens have asked for Su Yang to be banned, and such a tumor is absolutely not allowed to harm the values of young people. The Li family and Li Yinchen have been watching from the sidelines. What kind of thing is Su Yang, come to fight with him? He can easily destroy it. Even after Su Yang clarified, he was already destroyed. Li Yan lit a cigarette, and the evil in his heart was dispelled. He was about to open a bottle of red wine when he heard Second Master Li's roar from downstairs. What? You bastards, Second Master Li was furious. Even if he can't do it, what do you eat? I don't know what to say. On the other end of the phone, Yi Li is even more angry, I don't want to listen to the explanation. The result is that you put Li Yiji back. Do you know how much impact this will have? He threw the phone angrily. Li Yan sank downstairs, Dad, what's going on? Your uncle Second Master Li said angrily, I don't know how he went to the Principality of Karen Li. I'm afraid he really found the child who was lost in those years, and asked people to kill him. He boarded the plane alive. No matter how great the power of the Li family is, it is impossible for them to do anything on international flights and Sijukan International Airport. But in Sijukan, the goal of attacking Li Yiji was too big, and it would attract the attention of Mr. Li. Li Yiji must have found something before returning to China. Bang! Second Master Li slammed his face on the coffee table with a sullen face. If I knew earlier, I should have found a chance to do him in the past few years. How did he find out? Li Yan's expression turned gloomy again. I absolutely cannot let his son come back. Mr. Li is an old-fashioned man and attaches great importance to blood. It took him so many years to get the approval of Mr. Li. If Li Yiji's son is really recovered, what is the place for their second room to survive? Of course I know. Second Master Li was very annoyed. I will handle this matter. You go to the company to handle the order. As long as the Li group is under your control, it is useless for the old man to be partial. Li Yan nodded, left home, and drove to the Li group. He had just arrived at the office and sat down when the door was knocked open. Mr. Li, Li. Something happened. The special assistant hurried in, his voice eager. Public opinion has reversed. Li Yan frowned deeply. What's going on? He had a ruthless attack on Su Yang, and there were many professionals who helped to produce perjury. With the pressure of capital, could it be reversed? Su and Su Yang have released the original video. The special assistant wiped his sweat. Not only that, he's going to sue us. Original video. Li Yan's eyes sank. Didn't I let you guys clean it up? Yes, it's cleaned up. There won't be any on the whole network, we promise. The special assistant couldn't understand. The more we don't know how the video got to him. What the hell? If you guys clean it up, can you let him find the original video? Li Yan laughed angrily. He's not some kind of hacker, does he have the ability? The special assistant was speechless. What about plagiarism? Li Yinshan breathed out slowly. Plagiarizing foreign music, can't you get away with it? The special assistant pursed his lips. Li, Mr. Li, it's not plagiarism, it's just because the same composer has some similarities. Li Yinshan's expression changed completely. What did you say? Can Su Yang's composer be the same as that of an international diva? Isn't Su Yang already rushing to the world? It's the real President Li. The special assistant didn't dare to look at him. Agatha Field's agency has issued an announcement to prove that it is the same composer. This announcement can be said to have directly eliminated the black-hot search that Su Yang plagiarized. There are also professional composers who pointed out that the two songs do have similarities, but they do not constitute plagiarism at all, let alone a unified composer. Agatha Field's status in the music industry is just like Yunlin's in the film and television industry. There was no need for her to lie for Su Yang. Su Yang's fans cried with joy. My brother is awesome. My brother is too low-key to be able to cooperate with the composer of the international diva. Who is this composer? Brothers and sisters, I knew our persistence was right. God Su, he is innocent. Now the question arises, who exactly is framing Su Shen again? It's really incredible. Our God Su deserves to be targeted like this. God Su is the third party. Smile, look at his face, and look at his talent. What couple should let him intervene? Look in the mirror without urinating to see if you are worthy. Li Yinshan's expression changed, and blue veins burst out on his forehead. The special assistant didn't dare to speak, his body was shaking. Directly block him. Li Yinshan was clearly furious. I want to see who dares to fight against the Li family to save a star. The only one stronger than the Li family is the Yu family. Even if someone from the Yu family is a fan of Su Yang, would they go after the Li family for him? Impossible things. Li Yinshan was in a bad mood. Originally thought it would be easy to clean up Su Yang, but whoever thought that Su Yang seemed to be helped by a god, he avoided all such things. Only the most ruthless hand. Li Yinshan waved his hand to let the special assistant go down, and didn't care about the secretary who didn't come back, and started to make a new plan. He wouldn't let Su Yang go any further. Bai Jingxi was locked in the villa by Li Yan for a whole day and night without food. She was finally released. She was almost dehydrated. It's obviously Su Yang's fault. What does it have to do with her? She had already warned Su Yang to be careful not to be stared at by Li Yanchen, but he didn't listen to his words at all. It's worth it to be blocked. At least she won't see news about her and Su Yang on the internet anymore. Bai Jingxi held her tired body, and she didn't dare to go home, so she booked a hotel. After a good night's sleep in the hotel, Bai Jingxi regained some strength. She packed up and left the room. This is a 5-star hotel, and she lives in the presidential suite. Li Yanchen did not treat her badly. Bai Jingxi was going to go to a spa to relax, and then dressed up to meet Li Yanchen. She took the elevator downstairs, just in time for the elevator to come up. Before the door opened, Bai Jingxi heard a string of English. She has lived abroad for many years, and foreign languages are of course no problem. Okay, no problem. It's our honor to invite Mr. Su Yang to sing. A middle-aged foreigner in a suit came out first. I've already arrived in Sijukan, and Mr. Su Yang can come over at any time. He gave an address. Bai Jingxi listened carefully. It was the presidential suite next to her. Ken Su Yang? Bai Jingxi was stunned for a moment, and then he carefully looked at the middle-aged man's face. His pupils shrank suddenly. Isn't this the president of the agency where international diva Agatha Field works? Can hold the international Queen Agatha. This company's international influence is one of the best. Wait, Bai Jingxi couldn't hold back his mouth. Mr. Moer, isn't Su Yang banned? He has a lot of black stuff. How can you ask him to sing? The middle-aged man was a little surprised. He didn't answer Bai Jingxi right away, but turned his head and said to the person who had not come out of the elevator, Miss Si, she asked you why the lyrics and songs you made should be handed over to Mr. Su Yang to sing. Nearly 40,000 words. I'm so excited. That's it for today. Vigorously ask Ching Ching for a monthly pass. I want to break 800. There are also babies with guaranteed monthly tickets. Give Ching Ching a wave of wow. Prove the old saying that I can also write QWQ. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 376. Moore just felt that this Daxia woman who suddenly stopped him was a little inexplicable. Who do they invite to sing without outsiders? Living by the sea is so wide. Can you live here with this quality? Moore suddenly wanted to change a hotel. Bai Jingxi was stunned for a moment. She bit her lip, and her cheeks suddenly became hot. As if being slapped, his cheeks suddenly became hot. Was it the lyricist and composer who invited Su Yang to sing? What lyricist has such great power? Bai Jingxi held the bag in his hand, and didn't leave with a thick skin. She looked towards the elevator, and a tall figure walked out slowly. It was a girl, fully armed. Hats, masks, and sunglasses are not bad. A person who can dress like this must be a very famous person. Bai Jingxi also wanted to know who it was. The girl slowly removed the mask and took off her sunglasses, revealing a perfect face. With a strong face, she raised her eyes and closed her eyes, so beautiful and aggressive. Si fucking frowned and his voice was casual. Yes, why? These 6 words seemed to take away all the voices in Bai Jingxi's ears. Her ears buzzed and she was temporarily deaf. His brain was also blank, his legs staggered, and he almost didn't stop. Si fucking. How could it be Si fucking? Bai Jingxi's lips trembled fiercely. She took a step back suddenly, her face was twisted, and she lost her voice. I don't believe it. What is Moore's status internationally? How many kings and queens are cultivated by him, and there is even the god-level signboard of Agatha Field. He actually knew Sci-fucking? Moreover, when will Sci-fucking compose lyrics? The medical team of The Birth of a Staff has already aired 2 episodes. The center of discussion among netizens is Sci-fucking, apart from Wei Chenjiun and a few medical geniuses. Not to mention her camera lens, there is no heat at all. Bai Jingxi can no longer accept it. But now, her lips trembled again. Why does Sci-fucking seem to know everything? Miss Si, let's not be influenced by unrelated people. More glanced at the time. Agatha is coming soon, and I will ask Miss Si to help us book a Chinese restaurant. Sci-fucking nodded slightly. Well, Mr. Moore, please. The two of them swept past Bai Jingxi, who was staying in place, without giving another look. This is also the first time Moore has met the mysterious creator who has written several songs for Agatha. Extremely young, which took him by surprise. If you push it forward, Sci-fucking was only in his early 10 years when he composed the lyrics and music for Agatha. But there are geniuses in this world. After Agatha's first day on the international music scene, she could not do without the help of Sci-fucking's songs. Of course, her singing skills are already unparalleled in the world, reaching the pinnacle. Joining forces together is bound to create a myth. Sci-fucking proposed to let Agatha and Su Yang cooperate, and Moore readily agreed. Bai Jingxi was still standing in the same place, his face was blue and white, almost turning into a palette. You can see how complicated her emotions are. If Sci-fucking wrote lyrics and music for Agatha Field, would he still be in China? Her mind was completely messed up. And Li Yinshan shot, Su Yang is actually alright? Bai Jingxi's hands trembled, and he immediately turned on his mobile phone to surf the internet. In less than a day, public opinion on the internet has already reversed. Su Yang released strong evidence and directly exposed that the video of his sleeping powder was synthetic. In addition, Su Yang's studio has also released a lawyer's letter, preparing to investigate the matter thoroughly. Bai Jingxi squeezed the phone tightly, and his mood became more complicated. For a moment, he didn't know whether he was relieved or a little disappointed. It was undeniable that she still liked Su Yang. After all, Su Yang is a top-notch singer-songwriter and can dance and play drums. Sudi all over. If it was directly destroyed, Bai Jingxi would also feel a pity. Can you thoroughly investigate the rumor and sue the other party? In this regard, Bai Jingxi just wanted to laugh. The other party is Li Yinshan, a strong dragon from Sijukan. Even if Su Yang found out, what would happen? Is it possible that they can really send Li Yinshan in? That is impossible. The top priority, she still has to be careful to serve Li Yinshan, so as not to get burned. Bai Jingxi searched other news and confirmed that her name did not appear. She was relieved and left in a hurry with her bag. An hour later, after Agatha Field also arrived in Sijukan, Moore and her had a light meal under the arrangement of Sci-fucking, and then went to Su Yang's studio. There are still some extremists who came to the studio building to make trouble, but they were all repaired by Shanglu. Sci-fucking took Agatha and Moore upstairs. The doorbell rang, and Su Ziun went to open the door. He opened the door, and was about to happily call Sci-fucking in, when his eyes fell on a woman with white blonde hair. His eyes froze. Su Ziun jumped up suddenly, his expression was terrified. You. What are you? Sci-fucking gently kicked him. Quick, the distinguished guest is coming in, don't block the way. How stupid. Su Ziun was indeed stupid. Who did he see? Agatha Field. The first international queen. He has won the Hera Music Award many times, and successfully won the Hera Lifetime Achievement Award at the age of 28. There is Yunlin in the film and television industry, and Agatha Field in the music industry. Although the two have little overlap, their names appear a lot at the same time. How did he meet the real person? Su Ziun rubbed his eyes and rubbed them again, confirming that there was no problem with the way he opened his eyes. He really saw Agatha Field herself. Su Ziun was dumbfounded. Mr. Si, can I ask for Zhang's autograph? Okay, Si fucking raised his chin. Let's talk about business first, and talk about the rest later. Even Su Yang was surprised that Agatha Field would come in person. Didn't Luna tell you? Agatha smiled, very approachable. I was invited to sing Oracle's anniversary song, and she wrote the lyrics and music. I didn't expect that she was a little girl at the time. If it wasn't for Mr. G proof, I can't believe it. Su Ziun turned his head stiffly and looked at Si fucking. Si fucking leaned down, poured a glass of juice, and directly admitted, yes, I did it, you brother Suno. Su Ziun. He shivered and wrapped his clothes tightly. Si, Mr. Si, what other big guys do you know? Otherwise, let me open my eyes by saying it together. Who else do you know? Si fucking raised his eyebrows. The most powerful, I think about it, does your majesty count? After her game cabin came back, there was finally no time limit for anti-addiction. She has also fallen asleep in the game cabin for the past 2 days, and riding on a horse makes her whole body hurt. Su Ziun said again. Who doesn't know Emperor Yin? Teacher Si joked again. This is the piece that Miss Si made this time. Moore took out 2 pieces of music. It was specially tailored for Mr. Su. Moer had actually heard Su Yang's name, and someone from his company had specially invited him. But Su Yang actually didn't have much ambition. It is precisely because he likes music and dancing and maintains his original intention that he does not want to rely on variety shows or acting to gain popularity like other traffic-oriented singers. As long as he stands on the stage, he is the focus. Su Yang took it. This time, the words written by Si fucking are bilingual. Agatha is in charge of the English part and Su Yang is in charge of the Chinese part. The climax is the 2-way chorus. Agatha is known as the Queen of High Notes, and very few people can overpower her voice. So over the years, Agatha has been a soloist. But Su Yang is different. His voice is ethereal, but he has a very strong sense of power. The two sang the climax, and Moyer's eyes lit up when he heard it. Okay, Su Yang nodded, I have no problem here. It's a pleasure to cooperate, Mr. Suo. Agatha smiled. With Luna's lyrics and music, you can rest assured. This is another song that was consecrated at the Hera Music Festival. Even she had to sigh. It's a pleasure to work with. Senior Su Yang politely shook hands with her. This time, I have to trouble Senior to help me. You're welcome, even if Luna doesn't look for me, I'll help you. Agatha said, I've heard your name a long time ago. You're 23 years old this year, genius. Sooner or later this world will be a newcomer. I look forward to your consecration in the international music industry. She has already stood at the top, and there is nothing to break through, so she naturally pulls the younger generation she admires. Then it's settled. Moore got up and smiled. It's not too early today. Agatha and I are going out for a walk. I haven't eaten enough of your food here. Su Yang personally sent Moer and Agatha out, and after returning to the studio, he breathed a long sigh of relief. He looked serious. Sister, although you always say that there is no thanks between siblings, I still want to thank you. My ears are getting calluses. Si fucking snapped his fingers lazily. I can bear it if you thank me later. What are we doing now? Su Ziun scratched his head. Mr. Si, this was done by the Li family, but we can't afford to offend the Li family. Si fucking put down the cup, and his eyes were light. Wait for someone first. Wait. Hearing these 2 words, Su Ziun rubbed his hands together. He was looking forward to who else would come back. Agatha Field was invited. Could it be that the next one will invite Yunlin? He couldn't wait. On the other side, Sijukan International Airport. Li Yizhi and Ji Xingzi got off the plane. After getting into his car, Li Yizhi's heart was relieved. Little master, it's really thanks to you this time. Li Yizhi thanked, otherwise, my life would be in the Principality of Kalan Li. The way to Karen Lee went smoothly, but when he got the news and came back, he encountered several firefights, and he almost died under the bullet. Is this person, sometimes more terrifying than a ghost? Ji Xingzi held a piece of grass in his mouth and clicked his tongue twice. A ghost harms a person anyway, because he has revenge and has not avenged it. Li Yuzhi agreed and thanked again. I still don't know the name of the young master. Ji Xingzi waved his hand. Don't worry, Daxia people. Li Yuzhi was shocked. What a free from expensive, Daxia people. But even if Ji Xing knew it or not, Li Yuzhi guessed something. After all, he had personally seen Ji Xingzi summon a few floating spirits in the Principality of Karen Li. He also used the means to reach the sky to let the floating spirit speak and tell the story of what happened 20 years ago. In this way, Ji Xingzi summoned a floating spirit every once in a while, and finally managed to piece together a complete context. To be able to have such a means, is Daxia again. Then there is only one family. Onmyo Ji family, Ji family. In fact, Li Yuzhi has always been very sure that the loss of the child must be the hands and feet of the Li family. After all, even 20 years ago, no outsider could enter the Li family, let alone stealing children. It's just that he has no evidence and can only investigate secretly. The decadence on the surface is only to confuse the other Li family members. If he really didn't have any ability, even with the protection of old man Li, he would have died many times in the treacherous Li family. Now that the child has been found, he can finally rest assured. Li Yuzhi opened his eyes again. His eyes were already fierce. This time, he will never let the Li family hurt his son again. Su Yang's studio is here. In just a few dozen minutes, Su Yang has completely practiced the new song. Su Ziun was still worried. Mr. Si, I'm afraid that the Li family will attack Brother Su. What do you think they are planning? No one but Si fucking knew about the relationship between Bai Jingxi and Su Yang. No hurry, Si fucking said lightly, do a paternity test first, so that the culprit can be sorted out. Hearing this sentence, Su Yang was stunned. Neither Su Ziun nor the others responded. What kind of paternity test? Some relationships still need scientific and technological means to confirm. Si fucking shrugged. You can't catch the ghost and let it say that you are biological father and son. Su Ziun, teacher Si, don't be too mysterious, my IQ is not enough. Si fucking lifted his eyelids. What do you want IQ for? You only need to have good luck. Su Ziun. The door was knocked at this moment, and the sound was a little hurried. Ah, here it is. Si Fu leaned up. I'll open the door. There will be an update in the afternoon. There are more than 800 votes, the babies are really amazing, please give me 1,000. The update time is still 8 to 5 in the morning. I told my girlfriend that I went home on Thursday afternoon and turned on the air conditioner for a while, and the fever reached 38 degrees, and my stomach started to hurt, but because I had to save the manuscript, I experienced my shortest fever. Yesterday morning I slept well, but my stomach was still a little uncomfortable. My girlfriend? Others get sick from work, you get sick from work. Me, smiley face, I don't know what this is. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 377. Everyone in the studio looked towards the door. Hey, brother, do you still drink juice? Ji Xingzi walked in. Pour me a glass too. Si fucking glanced at him indifferently. I'm just talking about it. Ji Xingzi raised his hands in a gesture of surrender. I pour it myself, I pour it myself. It was also the first time for Li Yuzhi to come here. He was so anxious on the way, but when he got there, he felt timid, and was at a loss for the first time. Uncle Lisi fucking nodded towards him. Don't stand there, come in quickly. This surname surprised Su Yang. He looked at Li Yuzhi, and seemed to have an inexplicable sense of closeness. Okay, Li Yiji took a deep breath before stepping in. In the next second, he met Su Yang's gaze. Almost instantly, a mature man in his 40s burst into tears. The room was silent. Su Yang's hands trembled, and a very unrealistic idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Before he could think about it carefully, Li Yiji had already walked in front of him and bent his tall body. As they got closer, Su Yang realized that the man's eyebrows and eyes were somewhat similar to his. Sparse and sharp. Your surname is Su, because the grandmother who adopted you is also surnamed Su. She is of mixed race. She was abandoned by her parents in the Principality of Kalanli during the war. Because of her own misfortune, she chose to open an orphanage to adopt Daxia. Orphans without father and mother in the western continent, Li Yiji whispered. You stayed in the Lanshan orphanage for 12 years, then went to the Duchy of Mustun, and returned to the Great Xia Empire a few years ago. He paused. Right. Every time Li Yiji said a word, he would look at Su Yang, and he was very careful from his tone to his movements. Although Su Yang's loss was not his intention, in the final analysis he did not protect his son well. He was afraid that Su Yang would hate him. Su Yang's fingers clenched tightly, his Adam's apple rolled, and he had some difficulty pronouncing, yes. The loss of the grandson of the Li family has been further expanded because of the movie Looking for Orphan. This is Sci-fi's first movie, although it is only a temporary rescue, it is also of great significance. Su Yang also specially reserved the venue. The movie is indeed touching. Plus he's also an orphan, so he can empathize even more. Sometimes he wondered why his parents left him in a foreign country. He hated, was confused, felt inferior, and finally learned to let go, and his heart became cold. He chose to debut as a singer, not only because of his initial hobby, but also because only in this way can he feel that he is loved. But Su Yang really never thought that he would grow up in an orphanage, and it might be because he was stolen from his parents. As in the film Looking for the Solitary, Li Yiji has never given up searching in the past 20 years. And as the eldest son of the Li family, he can have another one. But in order to find his own child, he did not hesitate to give up the power of Li's group and family. Su Yang couldn't calm down. After all, he was only in his early 20s. People of the same age have only graduated from college. If I say, Li Yiji said hoarsely, slowly, I am your father, do you believe it? Su Yang's heart trembled. He pursed his lower lip, his expression a little dazed for the first time, but I have no impression. For as long as he can remember, he has lived in the Blue Sky Orphanage. The situation in the Principality of Karanli has always been unstable, and there are frequent fights on the streets. It was the dean's grandmother who protected them orphans so that Su Yang could grow up safely. Later, the dean's grandmother passed away, and the orphanage was taken back, so he and Bai Jingxi went to Mustun Principality. Because he had no money, he had to work all the way along the way, and encountered a lot of troubles, but finally managed to reach the safer Principality of Mustun. If it wasn't for looking for Sci-fi, even if Bai Jingxi abandoned him, he wouldn't have thought of returning to the Great Xia Empire. This is normal, because the onmyoji hired by your second uncle must have some skills. He can use secret methods to cut off the blood intimacy between you and Mr. Li, and even affect your appearance. Mr. is more like it, Ji Xingzi said carelessly, but no matter how much you change it, the DNA cannot be changed. As long as you do a paternity test, everyone will be happy. Su Yang actually believed it, his eyelashes trembled. Then let's do a paternity test. He clenched his fingers tightly, and his palms were sweating. He is not afraid of anything else, only that it will be nothing but joy in the end. He gave up after talking, but he still yearned for the warmth of his family. Let's go. Li Yiji's expression came alive at this moment, his eyes were extremely bright. The night is long and full of dreams, let's go to the hospital now. Even though Ji Xingzi confirmed that Su Yang was definitely his lost son by summoning Yu Fuling, he believed it wholeheartedly. But only a paternity test in black and white can prove Su Yang's identity in front of other people. Su Yang raised his head, his voice was firm. Okay. Just go to the #1 hospital in Siju City. Sci-fi leaned up, just in case, I'll send you there, and you stay here and watch. Ji Xingzi had already started eating the cherries, and made an okay gesture, no problem. He likes to eat with his elder brother most. After Sci-fucking, Su Yang and Li Yuzhi left, the studio was still dead silent. Su Ziun and the others followed Su Yang after the end of Youth and Youth. They also won many newcomer awards this year. They are very grateful for Su Yang's cultivation. Such a big thing happened on the internet, they all complained for Su Yang. But the Li family is indeed not something they can deal with. But now, the situation has suddenly reversed. Damn it, Su Ziun exclaimed in surprise, brother Su is actually the grandson of the Li family. Yeah, who would have thought of that? Ji Xingzi poured another glass of juice, but it's a good thing. Isn't it a good thing? Su Ziun was very excited. Mr. Si said just now that Mr. Li attaches great importance to blood relationship, and brother Su is the direct grandson. Isn't that Li Yanshan's game over? Ji Xingzi shook his head. The grievances of the wealthy family are not as simple as you think, but with the eldest brother here, there is no need to worry. To this, Su Ziun agreed very much. Teacher Si is the most powerful. Ji Xingzi glanced at Su Ziun and thought, this silly boy. Why is there not many smart people around his elder brother? He's still the smartest. Ji Xingzi happily ate another pot of cherries. The first hospital of Siju City. Si recorded a program here for a month, helped with a few surgeries, and has become acquainted with doctors and nurses in many departments. In addition, she doesn't have any celebrity airs, and she often brings some food to the overtime medical staff, and she is a little girl, so the doctors treat her as their own daughter. Mr. Cai, I need your help. Si approached Cai Zhonian directly. My friend needs to do a paternity test with his family, and I hope you will personally check it. After Cai Zhonian saw the two parties involved, Li Yuzhi and Su Yang, he instantly knew the seriousness of the situation. His expression became serious. Don't worry, Mr. Li, with me here, I will definitely not let the appraisal find any mistakes. Li Yuzhi bowed. I'm sorry, Mr. Cai. He passed his and Su Yang's hair over. Cai Zhonian was sent to the appraisal office, and by the way chatted with Qin Yuzong, who was resting after a surgery. Cai Zhonian held a cup of hot tea, very leisurely. It's a pity for those paparazzi, who knows a lot of inside stories when they work in our business. Qin Yu chant. This is not wrong. Every day, many people come to do the paternity test, and there are many big and small wealthy families in the 49 city. Although he was not in the laboratory, he had heard a lot of gossip. But the fact that Su Yang is the grandson of the Li family is definitely a big shock. The entertainment industry will inevitably have to shake up, and the circle of wealthy families in the 49 city will undergo drastic changes. This is not only related to the loss and recovery of the grandson of the Li family, but also the inside story of the wealthy family, and there will be no peace in a short time. The appraisal was personally checked by Cai Zhonian, and it was rushed out in 3 hours. Mr. Li, the paternity test has come out. Cai Zhonian immediately sent the document to Li Yuzhi. I swear on my personal reputation that there was absolutely no mistake in the process of the test. Li Yuzhi took a deep breath and opened the certificate with trembling fingers. Without looking ahead, he quickly flipped to the last page. 4. Analytical opinions. The 1.9 STR genes such as DBS 1179 are all human genetic markers. Following the Mendelian law of inheritance, combined application can be used for paternity testing, and the cumulative non-father exclusion rate is 0.99999999989. V. Identification conclusion. After being identified by the Identification Center, Su Yang is Li Yiji's biological son. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 378. Li Yiji's body swayed, and his fingers holding the testimonial tightened instantly. Even though he already knew the result, the impact of seeing it with his own eyes was huge. Son, really his son. He has been looking for his flesh and blood for 20 years. Fortunately, he did not give up. Li Yiji held the testimonial, his eyes were red. Mr. Li, you. Cai Zhonian hesitated to speak, but in the end he didn't say anything. He let out a long sigh. Oh. The family ties of wealthy families are inherently weak, and it is not uncommon for siblings to kill for family property. Even parents and children sometimes become hostile for the sake of interests. There are too few who choose family affection like Li Yiji. Cai Zhonian was also happy for him. Thank you Mr. Cai, thank you. Li Yiji quickly wiped away his tears. He hurriedly thanked Cai Zhonian, and immediately went to find Su Yang. Sci-fi accompanied Su Yang in the waiting area, saw Li Yiji running over, and patted Su Yang on the shoulder. Don't be dazed, go quickly. Su Yang was still in a daze until Li Yiji hugged him. His shoulders were soaked with hot tears. Su Yang's hands trembled, his throat seemed to be blocked by something. After a long time, he called out the title he had hated for 20 years, Dad. This sound made Li Yiji's body tremble, and he choked up, Hey, Dad is here, he has grown so big, he has grown so big. Li Yiji's best plan is that his child is still alive. But Su Yang is not only alive, but has also become the ceiling of the Great Xia Empire's music industry, and is still rising, and has not yet reached his peak. His current achievements are so high, one can imagine how brilliant he will be in the future. The father and son hugged quietly for a while. After a while, Su Yang came over slowly. He hesitated and said, Dad, my last name. I don't care about these things. Li Yiji shook his head and smiled. Besides, I have been absent from your life for 20 years. If it weren't for the old dean, I might never see you in this life. Yes, I agree with you taking her surname. Besides, you're definitely not used to changing your surname suddenly. I think Godsu sounds better. Su Yang's heart moved slightly, and his eyes widened slightly. Well, do you listen to my song too? I don't have time to listen to songs. Li Yiji was silent for a while, but when I go out, I can always hear your songs. The child is lost and he has no interest in any entertainment. But Su Yang's songs have been very popular in recent years, and they are played all over the streets. He will naturally hear it when he goes out. Who would have thought that he would be infinitely close to his son at that time? Unfortunately, it was so missed. In Li Yiji's eyes, there was a gloominess in the bones of the Li family. Second Master Li. And Li Yanchen. This account can't be settled like this. Uncle Li, I'll take you back to the studio. I said at the right time. I won't go up if someone comes to pick me up. Okay, Miss Si, thank you so much. This time Li Yiji bowed to Si again. If it wasn't for you, I don't know how long it would take me to find a Yang. Thank you this time to settle things online for a Yang. Uncle Li is polite. Si calmly said, you are my boss friend, so of course I will help you. Shi Yan, he is indeed a very good person and very reliable. Li Yiji smiled, full of deep meaning. It is worth entrusting. Si hummed, yes, he is super nice. Su Yang heard something else, and signaled Li Yiji with his eyes not to talk nonsense. Li Yiji laughed, by the way, I also want to ask you, do you have someone you like? Tell Dad. Su Yang was stunned for a moment. A piece of dessert first appeared in his mind. He pursed his lips, not yet. Then let's talk about it when we have it. Li Yiji was very pleased. You can develop your music well, and you can rest assured about your marriage. I have no demands on you, and I won't let the Lee family restrict you. As long as Su Yang lives well, he is satisfied. Su Yang lowered her eyelashes, but raised her lips, yes. Su Yang's name is still on the hot search. Netizens who eat melons said that the clarification and reversal were ushered in before the melons were fully digested. The speed was too fast and some could not accept it. It was also at this time that Agatha Field's agency, Universal Music, sent a cooperation message on Weibo and the internet at the same time. Atvi, the new song Rebirth from the Ashes, English name, Born of Fire, will be sung by the great Summer King At and the international Queen Agatha Field, so stay tuned. As soon as this Weibo came out, it directly shocked the entire internet. Su Yang's fans were also taken aback. God, Su is going to cooperate with Queen Agatha. This time the UN is broken a bit, I'm blind. Century combination. How magical are the two fairy voices combined, the first scheduled hit song of the year, when will it be released, I am the first to order. Hashtag Su Yang, Agatha Field Century Cooperation hashtag quickly became the #1 hot search. I didn't buy it, the heat is there. Su Yang's popularity alone is enough to blow up the trending searches, not to mention Agatha Field, an international queen. The West Continent and Dongsang were also shaken. Many foreigners don't know who Su Yang is, and they are amazed by this cooperation. Li Yanchen spent so much money to synthesize the video, and all the rumors and slanders created by forging witnesses and physical evidence were completely shattered at this moment. It is indeed more difficult to dispel rumors than to spread rumors. Even if Sci-fi restored the original video and released clarification evidence, many netizens would still think that Su Yang was a sleeping fan or plagiarized. They just want to eat melons, the more lively and explosive the better, naturally they don't care about the follow-up clarification. So bigger news must be used to completely dispel these rumors. This is also the reason why Sci-fi specially went to invite Agatha Field. Netizens are all Sherlock Holmes, and they have caught some clues. I think it must be this mysterious creator who made the move. It's true that Brother Su is a genius in singing and composing, but he hasn't established a firm foothold in the international arena. There must be a middleman. Wow, this songwriter is simply Su's lucky star. I'm so anxious, I really want to know who it is, but I also wrote lyrics and composed music for Agatha, and I know Brother Su, so it should be from the Western continent. In front, are you so unconfident about our great Xia? Take a look at the lyrics and music that this mysterious person made for Sushen. Those words cannot be written without some literary skills. As we all know, Chinese is the most difficult language to learn, let alone classical Chinese. This year's netizens are not good. It's been a day, and you haven't dug out the real master. I despise you. Netizens. Who the can blame them? It's clear that the creator hit it too well. Even if they have piercing eyes, they can't be picked out. Not only netizens wanted to know, but Li Yanchen also wanted to know. It can be said that this cooperation announcement really made it impossible for him to take action on Su Yang's career. Damn it! The veins on Li Yanchen's forehead were throbbing violently, and he couldn't calm down anymore. Yanchen, he's lucky. Bai Jingxi bit his lip and comforted him, he's completely incomparable with you. This time he's totally lucky. Luck is used up a few times. She concealed the fact that Sci-fi wrote lyrics and composed music for Su Yang, and set up Su Yang's collaboration with Agatha Field. It's not that she didn't see that Li Yanchen was interested in Sci-fi. Otherwise, with his habit of managing all kinds of affairs, how could he find time to watch the birth of an employee every week? Of course, it was impossible for her to tell how great Sci-fi was in front of Li Yanchen. Luck, Li Yanchen's eyes were gloomy, and he suddenly sneered, luck is indeed good. With the means of the Li family, Su Yang can definitely be banned in Daxia, but it can't be done at the international level. Su Yang cooperates with Universal Music, which means that his plan to make Su Yang unable to stay in the entertainment industry has completely failed. And Li Yanchen squeezed Bai Jingxi's chin, and warned coldly, "I don't have time to take care of you recently, please be honest with me, and let me find out what you have to do with that Sue." Bai Jingxi's face used to be quite attractive to him, after all, he looked exactly like his first love. But Sci-fucking is the one who unifies the aesthetics of the entertainment industry. He is a man, so it is impossible not to be tempted. Bai Jingxi is not that important to him. But now he has not succeeded in Sci-fucking, so he is still a little patient with Bai Jingxi. "I really didn't," Bai Jingxi was also very aggrieved, "obviously he pestered me, and I signed up for variety shows because I wanted to learn something." Li Yanchen snorted lightly and said nothing. He waved his hand and asked the special assistant to take Bai Jingxi down. Then he gave the order to the hidden guards around him to kill Su Yang. Since it is impossible to be clear, it can only be done in the dark. People are dead, and there is nothing to use. Here in the studio, Su Yang gave Su Ziun and the others a vacation. The studio has its own bedroom, and he specially vacated the largest room for Li Yiji. "Dad, you rest," Su Yang said, "I'll go out and buy some food, let's have a good chat." On the way, he also knew that Li Yiji had come back from the Principality of Kalan Li by narrow escape, and he hadn't closed his eyes for 2 days. Li Yiji was really tired. "All right, be careful on the road." Both Shanglu and Ji Xingzi were kept by Sci-fucking. The two went out with Su Yang. 2 streets away is the night market, where there are many small merchants and hawkers. Su Yang made a complete disguise. After shopping, he went to the supermarket to buy a few bottles of good wine and distributed them to Shanglu and Ji Xingzi. Ji Xingzi took it and took a sip. "Hey, brother Su, you found your father, I really envy you." Su Yang was taken aback. "Master Ji. It's easy to be short-lived in our line of work." Ji Xingzi was quite optimistic. "I'm left with my old man." Su Yang sighed, "All living beings suffer." When he passed the street, he gave some meals to beggars. The 3 returned to the studio. "Wait," Ji Xingzi's sloppy expression suddenly stopped, his eyes narrowed. "There is someone." Shanglu immediately made a defensive posture and stood in front of Su Yang with a vigilant expression. "Miss S.I. guessed it right again." Su Yang turned against the wind. "Li Yanchen will definitely not let it go." As soon as this was said, several dark guards in black appeared quietly. They have been waiting here for a long time, and finally arrived at their target. As for 2 more people, the hidden guards didn't take it seriously. They have done a lot of things like killing people and getting goods, and they are very proficient. "It's really annoying, interrupting the young master's drinking." Ji Xingzi took the last sip of wine and threw the bottle away. Without moving, he raised his hand. There was a buzz, as if something heavy weighed down. Before a few hidden guards could react, they all fell to the ground with a plop plop, unable to straighten up. Those with poor tolerance even made a poof and spit out blood directly. "Shanglu. Is this the power of Onmyoji? Brother Su, let's see how you handle it." Ji Xingzi took another bottle of wine. "I'll drink another bottle, okay." Su Yang, yes. The strength is quite strong, but the brain is not very good. Su Yang raised his head, his eyes turned cold. A voice suddenly sounded at this moment, cold and indifferent. "What are you guys doing?" Hearing this familiar voice, the hidden guards were taken aback for a moment, then raised their heads. Li Yiji didn't know when he came out. He put his hands behind his back and looked indifferent. Not as stub-bled and decadent as before. His eyes are as sharp as a falcon's. Li Yiji was indeed excluded in the Li family. But he is the Li family after all, and there are many hidden guards trained by the Li family around him. There was hope in the eyes of several dark guards. "Sir. Li Yiji is the Li family, and he will definitely save them." The leader of the dark guard spat out another mouthful of blood, and pointed at Su Yang with difficulty. "Sir, it was he robbed Mr. Li's woman, and Mr. Li asked us. People from Li Yanchen? Good, Li Yizhi bowed his head, smiling coldly. I haven't counted what happened 20 years ago, and I want to be quiet today, but you still dare to come to my son's idea? Just come to the blood sacrifice first. It's still more than 30 votes away, and it's over 1,000. Babes, give it a go. Many babies said that they cried at the Zhang family yesterday. It means I wrote it successfully. But when I was writing this paragraph, I was sitting outside with full makeup on, and then the eye makeup is all over, and passers-by are still wondering why this girl is crying in front of the computer, smiley face. Tai Shi is dead. In fact, you should be familiar with Li Yanqian, the cold-blooded president in the former president's article, with the criminal code 2333 on his back. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 379. Li Yizhi is the son of Li's father and has been trained as the next heir to the Li family since he was a child. He has been practicing martial arts since he was a child, and he has the wolf-like nature of the Li family. It's just that he has restrained himself in order to find a child over the years. No matter how the other Li family members made fun of him, he had never been angry and had a good temper. This caused many people to forget that in the days when he was trained as the Li family, his methods were not ordinary. And as soon as he said these words, the eyes of the dark guards Li Yanqian froze, and there was nothing but disbelief on their faces. Su Yang is Li Yizhi's son? What an international joke. It's not that they don't know that Li Yizhi has been looking for children, but Su Yang can be said to be seen almost everywhere. If so, if they didn't find them long ago, how could it be delayed until now? No, that's not the point. The point is they're done. Although the Li family had assigned a dark guard to everyone, the dark guard only listened to this person. But above all regulations, there is an iron rule. It is absolutely impossible to take action against the bloodline of the direct line, unless the competition for the position of the next patriarch has ended, and the victory or defeat is decided. Winner takes all, loser for cow. The expressions of several dark guards changed wildly. They didn't care about the pain on their bodies, and began to frantically beg for mercy. Sir, please forgive me. Mister, please. We didn't know this was your son, we didn't know. No matter how high Su Yang's status in the entertainment industry is, he can't get the attention of the Li family, that's why Li Yanqian is very arrogant. But if he was Li Yizhi's own son, his nature would be completely different. Ordinary people's life is not life. Li Yizhi looked even colder. I don't have much patience, and my heart is smaller than a needle, but you say, whose woman did we a Yang steal? What woman is so confident? The dark guards were speechless, their faces pale as paper. As for your president Li Yizhi lowered his head and smiled even colder. Soon he will not be president Li. If you don't fight before, you will be dormant. The reason to fight now is for Su Yang to have a safe growing environment. He had already lost 20 years of Su Yang's life. After that he must ensure his safety and never let anyone bully him. The dark guards knew that Li Yizhi's words were not a joke. No matter how decadent Li Yizhi was, he was still the true heir of the Li family. Now that he has shown his edge again, how can he know that Mr. Li will not favor him? The leading dark guard opened his mouth, his voice trembling, Sir. Come on. Li Yizhi stopped looking at him, and told his confidant, the secret guard, clean up, remember to see blood and make the color look better. Soon, another dark guard in black appeared. After he performed the salute to Li Yu, he quickly disappeared with 2 secret guards in one hand. He came back a few minutes later, took out the plain silk stained with blood, and respectfully handed it to Li Yizhi. Well, it's too dirty. Li Yizhi just glanced at it. Throw it away. The surroundings became silent again. Su Yang was a little stunned by Li Yiji's method. Dad. It's all right, it's all right. Li Yiji immediately suppressed the darkness on his body, and he smiled heartily. Don't let these people ruin your good mood. As you said, our father and son have a good chat today. The matters of the Li family are no more important to him than Su Yang alone. With him here, as long as Li Yinshan dares to send people over today, this is their burial place. Li Yiji thanked Ji Xingzi and Shang Lu again, and invited them to go up together. Both refused. Because Shang Lu saw Ji Xingzi's mysterious methods, he had already made an appointment and was ready to fight. Naturally, they would not disturb the reunion of Li Yanshan and Su Yang. Li Yiji and Su Yang returned to the studio. Are you scared? Li Yiji sighed. No way, but don't worry, I won't let you be contaminated by the rules of the Li family. Su Yang shook his head slightly. You are my father. Live and die. Li Yiji was stunned and patted his shoulder. Su Yang also relaxed. Miss Si is not simple. Li Yiji paused and sighed. Like Shi Yan, it is not simple. People who are truly terrifying don't know about this vast 4-9 cities. Such people can't really be offended. I can only hope that some people don't have such a bad eye. At this time, the back door of Guanghua Temple was also the corner of the ancient street. After Feng San and Kenyan had prepared the barbecue and drinks, they retired wisely. As guards, the two of them were only worried about wages, but now they are even more worried about Yu Xian's lifelong affairs. After a week of study, Feng San did not dare to say that he was able to master it completely, but at least he understood a little. According to his observation, it's not that Miss Si doesn't know about the love between men and women. After all, she can find a blind date for Yu Tang casually. But the bad is bad, Miss Si still only has money. Feng San was very worried. But he couldn't help, he could only choose to shut up. It also snowed last week, and this week has begun to spring, and the temperature is gradually rising. I did another good thing today. Si fucking held his chin. You can accumulate virtue for me. Hearing this, Yu Xian chuckled lightly. You are doing good deeds every day, and you have accumulated a lot of virtue. He paused and asked again, have the audition for the new drama been successful? Of course, Si will come out and be caught. Si fucking blinked. Sister Sang was made to cry by me, but unfortunately I forgot to record it, or else there will be a reason to threaten her in the future. Oh, Yu Xian smiled slightly, her voice soft, then I will be looking forward to this drama. It was a great regret in his heart that he passed away too early. It wasn't because he pursued immortality, but he still had a lot of things to do. If he lived for a few more years at that time, and completely made the barbarians dare not even move, maybe Zhang Ziyu would not have to take command of the expedition. He promised Zhang Haiping that he would take care of the Zhang family, take care of Zhang Ziyu, and choose a good son-in-law for her. Originally, Zhang Ziyu had already reached the time when she could get married. But because Zhang Suanjin's 9 brothers died in battle, she chose to keep filial piety. He complied. He never thought that Zhang Ziyu was a Zhang family, and the Zhang family had been hardcore for generations, so how could they care about their own affairs? Yu Xian closed her eyes. He was always sorry for the Zhang family. Descendants say that the Zhang family is full of loyalty, and it is a pity that the Zhang family never stayed behind, otherwise it would be one of the 4 great aristocratic families now. Only he knew that the tragic situation at that time could be described in a few words. Hey, boss, I have an unkind request. Si fucking suddenly said, can you promise me? Huh, Yu Xian collected his thoughts and opened his eyes to look at her. Although there is no Emperor Yin in this drama, but there is a voice, I think it is only suitable for you to match. Si fucking folded his hands together, and the fox's eyes were bright. Please, I promise you will not be scolded. Yu Xian's eyes gradually deepened and became slightly sharper. But seeing what she really meant, he sighed, I'm not asking you for mercy. If I don't help, wouldn't it hurt your heart? Si fucking gave a high five. Boss, I knew you were the best. She took a bite of the barbecue, and with a glance, she saw a light-headed skull floating towards Guangua Temple, shining brightly in the dark. Hey, monk, don't you stay in the temple at night and run out to drink flower wine. Si fucking hugged him and pretended to force, Buddha has a spirit in the sky, be careful to punish you. Goodness is good. The monk was startled at first, but when he saw it was Si fucking, his expression became slightly solemn. The female donor doesn't know anything. For others, this Buddha is on top of their heads, and for poor monks, this Buddha is in the hearts of poor monks. Si fucking raised his eyebrows. What a fallacy. The monk put his hands together. I saw the female donor this time. The female donor's complexion has improved a lot, and the poor monk is also happy for the female donor. It's still a bit of a sight. Si fucking leisurely said, there's wine and no meat, it's a little less fun, I'll share it with you. After getting a bucket of barbecue in vain, the monk smiled happily, thank you for the female benefactor. He happily held the barbecue in one hand and the wine jug in the other, and quietly entered the Guangua temple. The next day, early in the morning. Li's old house. Li Yinshan didn't receive any news from the dark guard. He frowned, and finally realized that something seemed wrong. But the company still has something to do. He got dressed and was about to go out, but he met Li Yizhi, who came back. Li Yinshan really despised Li Yizhi in his heart, but he still called out, Uncle. Li Yizhi glanced at him lightly, call me uncle. Li Yan frowned even tighter. His eyes turned cold, but before he could say anything, he saw Li Yizhi lift his leg and kick him in the heart. This kick caught Li Yinshan off guard. He didn't even have time to react, and fell to the ground. And the strength is not light, and it even flew out 3 or 4 meters away. This movement shocked everyone in the house in an instant. Mrs. Li screamed, ran downstairs immediately, and helped Li Yan up in distress. Brother, do you want to kill him? Old man Li was shocked and angry. Li Yizhi, what are you doing? I'm just a lesson from the uncle. Li Yizhi sat down and said lightly, anyone of our Li family was beaten when he was a child, and even I couldn't catch it, and he would be the next heir to the Li family. Old man Li changed his face. Well said. The Li family's style of cultivating offspring has always been cold and hard, and Mr. Li is even more strict with his offspring. After Li Yizhi became decadent, he hoped to transfer to Li Yinshan to let his grandson do business and practice martial arts. People trained by the same plan. Li Yinshan is even younger, why can't they compare to Li Yizhi? Mr. Li's eyes were heavy, and his mind had quietly changed. Today's Li Yizhi reminded him of the high-spirited heir of the Li family 20 years ago. Big brother, why are you so angry when you come back? Second Master Li observed his words and said in time, you only know how to look for an ethereal child all these years, and everything in the family that should be in your charge has also fallen into our rooms. Body. You are the eldest son. Father has high hopes for you, but how do you repay his old man? Sure enough, as soon as these words came out, old man Li's expression changed again, and he said lightly, Yizhi, no matter what your second brother did wrong, the family, apologize and pass, there is no need to be aggressive. Li Yi's expression became complacent. He sent someone to kill Li Yizhi, but he did not send a Li family member for the orders placed on the dark web. The dark web has always maintained strict confidentiality of customer orders. Even if Li Yizhi knew that the person was sent by him, there was no evidence. Second brother, I still want to ask you. Li Yizhi glanced coldly, why are you so old that you can't even hold a baby in your eyes? Second Master Li snorted in his heart, brother, what do you mean by that? He threw Li Yizhi's son all the way to the Principality of Kalan Li, and he changed hands several times. Li Yizhi had no evidence, so he said this in front of Li's family. What good could he gain by maliciously slandering himself? In fact, Mr. Li can also confirm that it was the Li family who did it, but he couldn't find it, and there was no other way. Only one eye can be closed. If you have a father, you will have a son. Li Yizhi ignored the second master Li, looked at Li Yanchen, who was supported by the second lady Li, with his hands behind his back. Your good son also likes blood relationship so much. Can you still have the face to say that my son robbed his woman? You don't know what kind of rubbish you like. Li Yanchen's kick was unclear, he fell even harder, and he didn't catch his breath at all. He didn't understand what Li Yizhi was saying. Second Master Li's expression changed drastically. He never cared about Li Yanchen's work, but he heard that an actor in the entertainment industry had provoked Li Yanchen. Is it? Old man Li's body trembled violently. Yizhi, what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Yang, you don't have to be afraid, you have dad here, come here. Li Yizhi said coldly, today I will open it up and make it clear. 20 years ago, 20 years later, this account will be settled in one lump sum. Good morning. The new week is full of votes, wow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 380. 20 years ago, this time was also a sensitive point for Mr. Li. In 20 years? Li Yanchen finally regained his senses at this time, but as soon as he looked up, he saw the person he had always looked down on came in under the escort of 2 secret guards. Su Yang. His appearance is extremely outstanding, and because of these years of experience, the temperament of the whole body has been precipitated. Under the age of 23, it gives a deep feeling. In terms of momentum, it is no weaker than Li Yanchen, who was meticulously cultivated by the Li family. Li Yanchen's pupils shrank suddenly, and his expression shattered for the first time. Li Yizhi has been looking for his son for 20 years, is it Su Yang? It was clearly hitting him in the face. What are you? I don't know your seniority, you don't know how old you are. Li Yizhi turned his head, raised his hand, and slapped Li Yanchen's face again. Why, you have been lost for too long, you forgot the rules of the Li family. What do you want to be called? The Li family had such feudal rigid rules. Even if second master Li got married earlier than Li Yizhi, Li Yanchen was older than Su Yang. But as long as Su Yang is here, Li Yanchen must respect him as his elder brother. Li Yanchen's eyes turned red, and his breathing became heavier. He stared at Li Yizhi and Su Yang, his eyes full of hatred and killing intent. But Li Yu insisted on picking the time early in the morning. When Li's family was there, Li Yanchen didn't have any chance at all. And Su Yang was standing here, indicating that yesterday's assassination failed. Old man Li's hands trembled. Enzo, is that Enzo's child? This grandson was named after him. Li Enzo. Najisa in Ye Enzo, the book is not Luo Fengjing. It means peace in the world and a bright future. Pinned his high hopes. Seeing the excited look of old man Li, Su Yang showed no expression, just took a step and stood beside Li Yizhi. Old man Li's expression darkened a bit. Others are still in a daze. Second Master Li was the first to react, and he said calmly, brother, don't have hallucinations because your son has been lost for too long, just find someone and think he is your son. Although I basically don't know people in the entertainment industry, but he is different. I have heard his songs on the street. Big brother, if he is really our Li family, how can we not find out for so long? Although he said that, Yi Li was not calm in his heart, and could even be said to be panicked. How did Li Yizhi find his son? This is impossible. Of course there is a paternity test. Li Yizhi said lightly, my son, I can't admit my mistake. The paternity test can also be faked. This time it was Mrs. Li who spoke up, and she wiped away her tears. Brother, I know you don't like Yan Shen, so you don't have to find an outsider to step on him, right? You know that there is a conflict between him and Yan Shen, why are you so? Test, finally, Mr. Li said, test it now. Ask the people from the laboratory to bring the instrument and test it in front of me. Hearing this sentence, Lee's expression changed. In front of the old man, it is not easy to move. What's more, paternity testing is not the ancient method of identifying relatives by dropping blood. Adding a little alum to the water can fool you. If Su Yang is really Li Yiji's own son, he will suffer. The butler was also sweating profusely. He was an accomplice in throwing away the grandson of the Li family, and over the years he has also taken a lot of benefits from second Master Li. I'll go to the laboratory right now. The housekeeper wiped his sweat. Old man, wait a moment. He exchanged glances with Li, and had a plan in mind. But at this moment, an old but powerful voice sounded. You don't have to go, it's too troublesome, I just happen to be free, so I can help you test it again. Old man Li squinted his eyes and looked at the person coming, a little surprised. Mr. Zhou Nian. Old Li, you are wrong. Cai Zhou Nian said, I was in the hospital yesterday, and I saw this paternity test. I also saw how excited Mr. Li was at the time. Old man Li doesn't even believe his own son. Mr. Li finally smiled. Mr. Zhou Nian said, so, why don't I believe it? The old man Li has always been shrewd, his eyes are vicious, and he can know what everyone in the Li family is thinking with a glance. Second Master Li has a ghost in his heart, but it's not that he can't see it. Cai Zhou Nian is highly respected. If the second room dares to question him, then the reconciled medical resources will be missed. Li Yi clenched his fists tightly, but he didn't smile. With Duke Cai to testify, it seems that my nephew is indeed real. Cai Zhou Nian didn't even look at him, he sat down and poured himself a cup of tea. Dad, it's been very hard for A Yang to lose 20 years, Li Yiji said coldly. Do you know how he lived abroad before? He is so young and is about to make a living, but what about some people? Come and stretch out your hand to eat and open your mouth. If A Yang hadn't been lucky and someone helped him, he would have died long ago. Hearing this, old man Li's turbid eyes suddenly sharpened, and he suddenly shouted, Li Mingzhong. Li Yi's legs trembled, and he knelt down with a plop, his voice trembling. Dad. The old man Li said in a stern voice, Li Mingzhong, do you know the crime? Second Master Li's heart went cold. Dad. With the tone of old man Li, it was clear that he was going to give up on him. You don't even let your own nephew go, it's heartbreaking. Old man Li closed his eyes. From now on, if you take away your surname, you are no longer Li's family. Since you are not Li's family, then follow the rules. Come deal with it, come on. Li Yi couldn't believe it, and let out a heart-piercing scream. Dad. He never thought that the old man Li didn't even ask Li Yiji for the evidence, but after listening to a few words, he would immediately dismiss him. Old man Li waved his hand without looking at it. Soon a dark guard appeared and took Li Yi down. There were constant screams outside, and soon there was no sound. Li Yiji's eyes fell on Li Yanchen again. Sure enough, the blue is better than the blue, but you are more cruel than your father. If you want to kill A Yang directly, you don't have to look for your people, I already done. Old man Li also looked over. Dad, Mrs. Li shook her hand. Dad, it's all the fault of that little slut from the Bai family. Yan Chen was just fascinated for a while. He also doesn't know the identity of the eldest young master, and anyone who doesn't know is innocent. And Yan Chen is talking about that big deal. Dad, you know how important he is to the Li group, and only Yan Chen can help our family rush into Liberty Island. Hearing this, Mr. Li fell silent. He obviously struggled, and after a while, he slowly let out a breath. It is indeed the woman in the Bai family who has a bigger problem. I will teach him a good lesson. If I do it again, I will never forgive him. Mrs. Li breathed a sigh of relief and cast a smug look at Li Yiji. She knew that Mr. Li would never abandon Li Yan. Li Yanchen was the only one she could rely on. It's a good thing that Hanzo is back. Mr. Lee smiled. Let's stay for dinner today? I'll invite some chefs for the state banquet. Li Yiji's expression lightened a bit. Yang still has a cooperation with Universal Music. I am afraid that someone will be unfavorable to him, so I will not live at home and leave first. Okay, then. Old man Lee also knew that he was ashamed, and he asked someone to take a bank card. Then when this child Yang finishes work, we will handle the matter of entering the family tree, this name. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted. This time it was Su Yang who spoke. I won't change my name. Okay, if you don't change it, you won't change it, Mr. Lee said hurriedly. Your name is also very good now. You must be lucky to be so popular in the entertainment industry. Su Yang remained indifferent, and did not follow up on the card handed over by the old man. Yang, since it was given by your grandfather, then take it. Li Yiji suddenly laughed. You still need to support the young men in the studio, so the money cannot be less. Su Yang just took it and didn't say thank you, but Mr. Lee was also very happy. Mrs. Lee's eyes also turned red. That's a black card. There are at least 100 million in it. After coming back, Mr. Lee gave away 100 million yuan. When Su Yang recognized his ancestors and returned to the clan, wouldn't he really want to take away the Lee clan that they had poured their efforts into for many years? But what does a singer know about doing business and investing? But Mrs. Lee didn't dare to say anything at all. For Su Yang's sake, second Master Lee has been dealt with by the family law, and it is even less possible for her to seek any benefits. Can only endure. Fortunately, there is still the bargaining chip of Liberty Island. By the way, I'll go back to the company the day after tomorrow. Li Yiji suddenly turned his head. Dad, don't you mind? Of course I don't mind. Old man Lee was pleasantly surprised. It's the best that you can come back. In a word, the hearts of Mrs. Lee and Li Yinchen's mother and son sank again. It is undeniable that the real heir in old Master Li's mind is Li Yiji, otherwise he would not have directly abolished second Master Li just because of his few words. Now that Li Yiji has swept away his decadence and has to join the company, it is naturally too late for Mr. Li to be happy. They have to have more chips. Come here. Old man Li walked up to Li Yinchen. Go to kneel at the ancestral hall with me. Li Yan suppressed the hatred in his eyes. Yes, Grandpa. In the afternoon, Sci-fi studio. Sci-fi received a call from Raphael. Raphael has not returned to the Principality of Miston and is inspecting other cities. He said that he liked her show very much and would give her another box of gold before leaving. Yu Jian heard clearly and shrugged. It's a pity, I really can't expect his IQ. It's also normal. Sci-fi thought about it and asked, third senior sister, if I send you a message saying that I am your dead junior sister, would you believe it? I don't believe it. Yu Jian wrapped her arms around her. I would think that you were the second child who came to trick me. Sci-fi sighed, then it's even more impossible for other people to believe it. Okay, little junior sister. Yu Jian pinched her face. You call me stupid when you turn the corner. Of course not. Sci-fi raised his hand with a serious expression. Second senior sister, you are smarter than me. The phone rang at this moment. It is Gu Huiyan. Hey, Mr. Gu. Sci-fi picked it up. You say, I'm listening. The International Youth Culture Exhibition will be held on March 4. Gu Huiyan's face was full of spring breeze. You won the first place with the 10,000 miles of rivers and mountains, and I also agreed with the program team that I will go abroad to record a stop at that time to make you prestige. Prestige. He also watched 2 variety shows of the medical group, and immediately felt that Cai Zhongnian was not good enough, and the pomp was not big enough. In his place, he took the camera on the spot with 10,000 miles of rivers and mountains. Sci-fi said, oh. Gu Huiyan. He paused. Can you be excited? I even applied for a bonus of 800,000 yuan for you. What? Sci-fi suddenly caught the key words. 800,000. Gu Huiyan. He felt a little heartache. Girl, I told you that we are engaged in art, don't take money too seriously, you will find that your works are priceless. I'm not into art, I fucking said confidently, I'm very vulgar and superficial. I'm in the business of money. Xiaobai nodded again and again. I fucking asked again, so this piece of my work can be sold after the competition? Gu Huiyan said again. Before waiting for him to say anything, he heard I fucking say to himself, forget it, I won't sell it, since there is no market for it, I will give it to my boss, he likes history so much and is a fan of Emperor Yin, he must like it. No, Gu Huiyan became anxious, you sell it to me, and I will give you $1 billion. I fucking. She was wondering whether $1 billion was important or Yu Xian was important when the doorbell rang. Yu Jian went to open the door, and Su Yang came in with the fruit. Elder Gu, let's talk later. I fucking ended the call first, and was very concerned, how is the Li family? Second Master Li has been dealt with. Su Yang frowned slightly, his expression rather indifferent, but because the Li group is relying on Li Yinshan to rush into Liberty Island, he was only punished to kneel in the ancestral hall. I fucking finally raised his eyes and said, you mean, that Mr. Li threatened that he could help the Li family enter the Liberty Island, so Mr. Li just abolished the second Mr. Li and kept him. And Su Yang raised his head, sister, what is Liberty Island? It's not a good place. I fucking said indifferently, those who don't know anything yearn so much. There are distinct classes, and there is no human rights at the bottom of the continent. Technology has advanced, but the social system has regressed. There is no need to go. Su Yang really didn't have much interest, and nodded slightly. I heard from my father that no matter whether it is domestic or foreign, as long as it is a big family, they want to squeeze into Liberty Continent. As for the other small families, it's not that they don't want to, but they haven't heard of this place at all. You want to enter the Liberty Island so much? Okay, I fucking smiled, his eyes turned cold, then you can tell the Li family that Li Yinshan will not be abandoned. In this life, the Li family will never want to enter the Liberty Island. Ching ching, it is to protect shortness. There are a lot of inspirations in my dreams recently. There are apocalyptic, interstellar, and infinite horrors. Looking at these inspirations, I fell into contemplation. See you tomorrow. To add, the baby of the college entrance examination, come on tomorrow. It's been too long since graduation, I'm no longer sensitive to the static.